so I'm just going to follow your lead.
You can say hi.
Thank you all for coming out. Appreciate it. Hey, thanks for coming out. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Very grateful. Thank you so much for coming out. Thank you. Thanks. Thanks for coming out. Sorry about this. Thanks for coming out. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming out. Thank you. Oh, right on. Thanks for coming out. Thank you. Thanks for coming out. Thanks, Brian. Thank you. Thanks for coming out. Thanks. We'll be loud so everyone can hear us out here. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for coming out. Thank you for taking the time to come out. I really appreciate it. Very grateful. Thank you. Thanks for coming out. Hey, how are you? Thank you. Thanks for coming out. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much. Here we go. Kind of where are we headed? Around? Yes, sir. Come around the corner.
It's okay, I promise. It's okay. It's okay. No, it's okay. It really is. It's fine. It's fine. It's okay. I'm okay, I promise.
Hey everyone, we're about to get started inside. We're at Celebration Hall in Granbury in Hood County. Hood County, Texas, Granbury Town Hall. We just met some people who can't quite get in outside on the street. So that's what you just saw. Now we're coming into the actual event. Hopefully we can pop back out afterwards to the people who are outside and say hello. And we're in Granbury, Hood County.
Sorry, you okay? Yeah. Did he mean to do it? Oh. Got to be good to each other, right?
Right.
Mr. Greg, look!
We're not going to do t-shirts, there's no space for this.
This is a team that does all the amazing
That's right.
merchandise sales.
Yeah.
Good to see you. Yeah, good to see you. Here we go. Thanks for doing this.
We got a really good turnout.
That's what I said.
How are you? Glad to have you here.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Robert Vick.
Yeah, Robert, good to see you. Honor is mine. Thank you for being here. Yeah, very grateful. Hey, Roger.
The categories.
Oh, right on.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you. I'm grateful. Thanks, Roger. Yeah, so glad that you're here.
All I said was step back, you blocked with your foot, and you know you did it.
Oh, great.
Roger, I'm going to give you my info so we can stay in touch.
Thank you very much. Okay,
Nice
thank
to
you,
meet
Chris.
you.
How are you?
Very well. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Thanks for doing this.
This is my daughter, Juliet.
Right on.
Can I get a picture?
We're so glad that you all are
Yes,
doing this.
we're so happy that you're
And there's
here.
this many people out in Granbury.
Wait, do you want me to get a picture?
Oh, we
Yes.
made this gonna.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's you good.
I'll get it.
How was
Okay.
the drive?
It was great. It was moving it.
Here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. There we go.
Before we knew it, we were here. And
So we ready?
We're ready. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it.
Ready?
no.
Okay, we're
And then there's all these great people waiting to say hello
Yeah.
outside. So we got to say hi to some of them.
Tell Adrian to get ready.
I'm excited.
get your attention for a minute. You folks seem excited about something. A little piece of housekeeping that I want to do first. When we get through, when Beto gets through and all, what we decided to do is let our workers come and fill the aisle here. And then we're going to take a panorama picture of everybody with Beto. And then after that, we're going to put a little rope here and have a single file. And those of you that line up nicely with the hair can have their picture taken with Beto. So, another thing that the wonderful staff has agreed to do is that everybody that's here that would like a Beto sign or a Beto button, they're going to give them away in this day. We are going to cover Hood County with Beto for 75. So remember, stay in your chair. Now, I would like to introduce our new county chair, Adrian Martin. All right.
Hello. My name is Adrian Martin, and I'm so excited to be your new Democratic County Chair. First off, I would like to thank Beto O'Rourke, the Beto campaign staff, and Mr. Robert Vick for making today happen. It's so inspiring to see you all here today, but I know you're not here to see me, so I'd like to leave you with one message. While being here today is amazing, it does nothing if you do not come out and vote in November. Every vote counts, and he needs your support. Let's show them what Hood County can do. Now, it's my pleasure to introduce you to our next senator, Mr. Beto O'Rourke.
How's everybody doing? Good to see you. So good to be with you. This is really wonderful to have this many people coming together in the middle of summer on a Friday morning when there's so many other things, or Friday afternoon, so many other things under these stars, so many other things going on in our lives, so many other pressing needs. It could be our kids, our work, something else going on in our life, and we all decided to come together this morning for not a candidate, not a party, but for our country. At the moment, seems the most, we are here. And I want to especially thank everyone who is on the other side of that glass out there. Let's all wave to them and say thank you for coming out. We are grateful to you all. And one of the things that we want to ask your indulgence in going forward is I'm going to do my best, and you know how hard it is for a politician to do this, to be brief in my comments, to listen to you, turn the microphone over to you, and I get to hear what's on your mind, answer your questions, gain your perspective, your wisdom, your guidance, your direction over the next 4 months. 4 months, literally to the day, is the 6th of November, when we will decide the future and the fate and the fortune of this country, not just this state. But I want to ask your indulgence. After we have that conversation, Cynthia Cano on my team is going to take an amazing panoramic photo. We're going to try to get everyone in. And then I hope you agree with me. I think what we owe those who are standing outside in this heat is if we can then quickly get out there and take some pictures with the folks out there before we hit the road for Arlington. Is everyone cool with that? Okay, someone's at what going next year. Okay, good. So again, thank you. And again, let's remember not just that we are 4 months from the 6th of November, but we are 2 days and 242 years from the signing of the Declaration of Independence, something that we all just celebrated on Wednesday. And an opportunity for us to reflect upon and take a step back from and look at what we have been able to accomplish as a country, starting with this audacious idea that all of us were created equal. And that was some some really big stuff that we laid down on the world in 1776. And something that continues to inspire not only those of us here lucky enough to be in the United States in your 8th generation, or you just got here yesterday, but there's something so powerful in this principle and in this idea that wherever you were born, wherever you are right now, wherever it is that you are going to, all of us are created equal. And that the Declaration of Independence goes on to say that our Creator endowed within each and every single one of us, every single Republican, every single Democrat, every independent, every U.S. citizen, every citizen of some other country on the planet, certain unalienable rights, things that cannot be taken away from you, things that you were literally born with, things that are inherent to you as a human being before you are anything else: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And you think about every generation since that one that penned those famous words in 1776 that has tried its best to live up to those ideals. Never perfectly, and we should be the first to admit that it has not been perfect, that the positive changes that we have been able to attain have taken too long to achieve, and yet, given the alternatives, we are still the best thing going on this planet. And the closer we come to living up to those words, we fought a civil war, essentially, over those words about whether we were created equal, all of us. We have people who have been going to war for as long as this country has been a country. Some within living memory who served in World War II. We were reminded of that when we were at the train station in Gainesville in Cook County, and somebody pointed out from this train station in 1944, an entire division, which had just been training in the outskirts of Gainesville, boarded these trains, ultimately would end up in England, and then on June 6th of that same year would find themselves on Omaha Beach in Normandy. And 2,000 who boarded those trains in that train station in Gainesville would never come back to Gainesville or to Texas or to this country, because they laid their lives down for this ideal, which we extended not just to our fellow citizens and our fellow Americans, but to the people of the world during that great conflict. To continue in Korea, those who were sent to serve in Vietnam, the first Gulf War, and who are serving tonight, where it is night, in Afghanistan, in Syria, in Iraq for the 27th year straight that we've been at some kind of war in that country, Libya, Yemen, Somalia, and Niger. You think about all of those who have sacrificed so much. You think about the freedom riders in the 1960s who literally took their lives into their hands on those Greyhound buses, going through those cities of the former Confederacy, in some cases losing their lives. The girls who lost their lives in the church bombing in Birmingham, Alabama. Those who put their lives on the line crossing the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, Alabama with John Lewis. Those who went to the lunch counters knowing full well that they would be spat upon, they'd be punched, they'd be dragged out by their collars, humiliated in front of their fellow Americans. Everyone who has sacrificed so much for us to be here and to hold this kind of pride in this beautiful, amazing, and yet imperfect country, we have to make sure that we honor their commitment and that we honor their sacrifice. And in part, doing so entails not just winning this election, although we must, but doing it in the right way, doing it together, understanding that you cannot be too much of a Republican or too much of an independent or too much of a Democrat to care about the big things in our lives, to make sure that all of us are well enough to live our lives or to do those things that we were intended to accomplish, finishing that education, working that job, starting that business that's going to employ other people in Granbury or other parts of Texas, the art that you're going to produce, the family that you're going to raise. This idea that you should be well enough and that no one in the wealthiest, the most powerful, the most ingenious, the most innovative country in the world should be dying today of the flu or diabetes or these deaths that are preventable, that are solvable, that we're allowing people to die from in the least insured state in the country. The same state where people get arrested on purpose to have their schizophrenia or their bipolar disorder or their mental health conditions treated because the county jail system in Texas is the largest provider of mental health care services in Texas. How can we be the state that is home to kids in tent cities who've been taken from their parents just after crossing 2,000 miles to flee some of the deadliest and most violent, the most brutal countries in the hemisphere. 2,000 miles, and just at their greatest moment of vulnerability and desperation, after that mom has sacrificed everything, literally put her life on the line for that kiddo that she cares and loves for so much, just at that moment, we take that child from her and we separate them, not knowing when or even if, because we were not prepared to do this on this industrial scale, whether even if that mother will see that child again. Going to the Tornillo tent city, where hundreds of those kids are kept right now, and asking those kids where their parents are. And in some cases, the kids didn't know, and in some cases, their parents had already been deported back to Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador.